Okay, we're live now. So for those of you who are here, can kind of hear what's going on. Chris is showing Ralph his and Scott's app that they've been working on.
Let's see what the results are. So, for your test, you have normal vision, and then about a page, which will get you some ask questions on blindness. All right. First app. First app. I've won. Who's your partner? Scott's mixing. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fun with that. You should put that on the market. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Absolutely. That's better than most of the ones you find out on the market, Michelle. Honestly. I had some shortcomings with how it calculates the score going on, because I couldn't find any official interpretation algorithms. So I just kind of did arbitrary points versus a certain test if the score is greater than A or something.
Can you guys hear us better now?
That's the quality. How do you run the meeting?
Trying. Underwater.
It does look a little hazy, I have to say. Especially that side of the tank. We haven't cleaned ourselves in a while. Probably just the brightness. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
And maybe because they hear the fan too.
So who wants to start? What's the agenda?
So the agenda will be everybody will go around and share their elevator pitch. So give us a little spiel about what it is you're working on for today and tomorrow.
No. Elevator pitch for their app. What is their app?
Yeah, that's the
Specifically the app.
So yes, the app. What is the app that you will be building the next 2 days? And then we'll talk about the requirements and review a sample write-up, and then you'll have a chance to ask questions that you have. So who wants to go first? Let's see. Well, Chris was already here, so you want to go over?
Sure. All right.
Scott, you're there too, right? Right, Scott?
Yeah. So Scott and I have been working on an app, and it's a color blindness test for red and green color blindness. Which is one of the #1 visual defects amongst men, especially younger men, surprisingly enough. The gene that cannot detect red and green is mostly in the X chromosome, which we men have twice as many as most ladies. So this app that we created, you can clearly see it there, goes through 38 plates. The X chromosome? I believe so. Women have 2 X. Do they? We have 1. Stupid internet. We're XY. Clearly, the elevator pitch needs a couple more of those. Women, are you with me on this one?
Right, yeah.
Really? All right. Yeah. I'll check my research. I'll be back. I'll be back on that one. Anyways, it goes beyond the Y chromosome. Yeah. So it goes through all these different plates, and if you're red and green colorblind, you can't see the numbers. So if I march through this a little bit. Wait. Can anyone see that number? What's that number?
That's pretty good.
8. All right. Can you all see it?
Cannot see it.
I can see it.
Who could not? Could someone not see it?
5.
I cannot.
Who's that?
Larry.
Oh, Larry, you're gonna test my app tomorrow or next time I see you.
Absolutely.
So,
I am colorblind.
You are. You know you are, huh?
Yes. Yeah. When the eye doctor shows me those books, it's just random dots.
I could have used that back in the 70s. Yeah. So I'm going to give this to all of my kids first day to see what we find with them, because I think that'd be kind of fascinating. So the idea behind what Scott and I is working on is this will give you feedback as well as diagnose. If you do have red-green color blindness, it'll then take you to an activity starter, which will tell you basically, if you're colorblind, it's going to open up a web page so you can see, things about color blindness, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of what we're working on. So how did you store all those pictures? They're in a list. Okay. So the pictures themselves are in the app, and I have a list which references their file names, and I use an index to march through each one.
Each one.
Yeah.
And then you store the numbers in a you just adding the number each time, or you're storing the numbers?
I'm storing the numbers as well, so I can display them on the screen for the people, as well as then I calculate. We do a comparison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, as you go through the app, it shows the responses on the bottom, like what you got for each number, and then at the end when you submit it, then it gives you the response on whether you have color blindness or not, and then the information in the website.
So this is doing things that we haven't covered yet, including the list and processing the list.
Yeah, the core functionality, Scott and I vetted out, and then I kind of played around with some of the future stuff. But Scott's research in the beginning really kind of kicked it off.
Yep. Okay. Very nice. I think you should put it on the market.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, people would find that useful.
All right. Thank you.
So, very good. Scott, do you have anything else to add?
No, he went through the app pretty well. Obviously, he's got it right in hand there. Yeah, he did do a little bit more of the advanced coding part of it, and now we're working on the write-up stuff and all that, and it's going well. It's tough that for a group project such as this to not be in person, and me being an hour 20 away, it's kind of I can't get in there every day. So I probably would have preferred it to be an in-class part. So that we could work face-to-face and do some of the partner programming, so I could actually do some of the code while he was explaining it to me, as opposed to, all right, he just did it on his own, now I take a look at it, and vice versa. So, but other than that, I mean, the app part of it, the actual creation that we came up with, I thought it was good.
Well, we'll try to do the next one in class.
Yes.
And the last one will be. That's week 6. So,
Okay.
The reason for the 1-3 breakup was conference schedule. So actually, next week we're here. The week after, a bunch of us are away.
Yep.
That's why it's scheduled this way. So okay, very nice. So who wants to go next?
I guess I can go next.
Okay.
Next.
Michelle and
Philip.
Philip. Okay.
Right, and our app is called Pocket Parent, and our app's about giving elementary students
I have trouble hearing you. Can you hear me all right?
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me okay? So if I could explain that.
That's okay. And so I have the app right here on my phone. It felt I've been trying to find some pictures. I came up with this like SpongeBob theme. Can you see it?
Oh, okay. So you're using SpongeBob for all the images. Okay.
Yeah. So also so what we do is we have a table layout, and then we have 9 buttons on the table. And then, so the student will click the button, and then it gives him a reminder. And then when he says, "I'm done," it texts his parent what he's completed. So, so then he says, "I'm done," and it's going to send a text. And let me do that again.
So it's just a nice way for a parent, if they're not around, to be able to keep tabs on their child. Be like, if you're not there, ask for that, ask what's going on, and they.
Right, and right now, Phil and I have it on, because we have Android phones, we have it on our phones, but we don't have it working on the tablet yet. So I was going to try to do that.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work on the tablet because we're not using Google Voice, we're just using basic text.
The texting functionality, which not all with phones, because unless you have a phone number, it's going to go through a normal messaging system. So the tablets don't have a normal SMS.
It just work if you put Google Voice in the tablet. Sign up for Google Voice.
Yeah, I have that. We haven't tried that yet. And then Google Voice has to be configured a certain way, but I use it at home, so I was going to try that, but I haven't done it yet. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ended up using Google Voice, or I think Hangouts has its own separate messaging system. Or we could actually do it, I think, through Gmail. There are ways to send SMS through Gmail, so we have to just basically run it through one of those systems.
Well, the first project, we didn't cover anything yet, so it would not be any mark against you to not having written tablet.
Yeah, and I have a question for everyone, and like, if you all can see this, if you can see it here. Okay, that middle button, see how that middle button is sized a little differently? And I actually have put all of these into Paint and sized them specifically 100 by 100 pixels, and then save them as a PNG file. So it's giving them more content. And this middle button here is not behaving well. That one right there. So I'm not sure what it is. For that.
Does it look pretty in the designer?
I think it does. I think it looks okay on the design.
The only thing I can say, looking at it, is that the phones, the TV's interpretation is always different than it's stimulating. As to that, let's look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe try putting that in one of the other 9 squares and see if
right. See what
it could actually be that the image itself didn't come 100 by 100.
Yeah, and I resized it.
Really?
Yeah, I resized it. Yeah, I wanted to make sure everything was the same size. And then we have this button that kind of hangs, off on the end a little here. But we're not really sure yet why that does that. So.
Very nice. Anybody have any questions or comments for this group?
So it looks like Dana mentioned she'd use Google Voice for texting app. Just reassuring that it works on the tablet. So, yep, and that link is also part of the setup instructions that we have available. We don't have texting in our course until Unit 7, and there's a lot of instructions laid out as far as the setup to walk you through setting up the tablet to use Google Voice, because there's a lot of little settings that you have to configure. So that's in Unit 7 for us.
Yeah, I think I might do that one. I have to do this.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear. It's really hard to hear anything coming from your end.
So Bill, can you right now?
Yeah, it works better. Instead of
There's a single thing that's going on in that room, really. It's very garbled.
Bill, can you mute your mic now?
Can I what?
Mute your mic.
Barely. I heard that. But most of the stuff there I can't hear.
There we go. All right, Matt, you want to go next?
Sure, Dana and I can go next. The app that we decided to come up with is easy text app for people that have difficulty speaking. It's a assistive technology app where There's a text box that you're going to be able to text to. Using Google Voice, you can text out to your favorites. We've created icons at the bottom with our pictures, so you can kind of have your favorites there ready to go. So you type in the text, click the picture, and it'll send it on its way. Also, we created a section where we have a canvas, so you could draw on it, and you can communicate that way. So the main focus of this app is to be able to communicate within a room if you cannot speak or have trouble speaking, rather than as a text message back and forth. The person would be able to receive the text and then respond verbally from there. So I mean, anything else you want to add, Dana?
Yeah, I have an example of the interface here. There we go. So here's an example of the interface. Sorry for the. Let's see if I can get this. So we have the texting area up here where you can type in your message. And the idea was just to make it really simple. So you don't so if you're an older person that has some type of disability that prevents you from speaking regularly, like a lung disease or something like that, you would just type in your text here and then press the picture. So if I press this button, we actually have it configured so it'll send me a text. Or if you press Matt's button, it'll send him the text. And then I'm just working on coding this button so you can add a new username and phone address to text. And then on the bottom part, we added a canvas so that if you wanted to draw something, you can do that as well to communicate, and the erase button as well. So it's just made to be a really simple app to aid with communication. And that's it.
That's a good idea.
Very cool. Yeah. Cool idea.
Thanks.
So all of you guys are going well beyond what was expected for Project 1. The question I have is, are your expectations going to be this high for your students?
Probably not.
Okay. You have to go easy on them, though.
Right. I think it's easier for us to kind of go above and beyond if we're very familiar with the coding aspect and the implementation of it. I mean, for our students, obviously, they're going to need a little more time. Some will probably be able to go above and beyond, but most people, I think, will be just kind of, taking the concepts that we've learned and then implementing it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's great to see you going beyond what you're required to do. That's awesome. So let's see. Larry?
Yeah, Tony and I are working together. Tony's not available. He's picking up his son. But we're working on an early pre-K app where the main screen has 4 choices: color, number, shape, and letters. And it's a matching. We've been getting images together. We just started building the color piece where there's a choice of 4 colors: red, green, blue, and black. And then an image will come up like a green frog, and the user would click on green, and if that is correct, then a smile face will come up as correct. We're looking to add a voice to that as well, a sound file. If they get it correct, then there's a choice to continue on within that category or go back to the main menu. If they get it wrong, a sad face comes up, and then they have a choice of staying in that category, trying again, or going back to the main menu. So that's the idea of it, is to give early learners a chance to practice some of these skills, and it's through visual and touch. That's what we're working on.
Larry, that sounds great. So what did you say the 4 different categories were?
We've got colors, And at this point, we just have 4 colors. We're going to do numbers, probably numbers 1 through 9. We're going to do some shapes, shapes in nature, triangles, circles, squares, things like that. And then letters. Start with, A through E maybe, and then have an object that starts with one of those letters that they have to correctly match.
I mean, that sounds terrific, but that's a lot of work, and I'm wondering whether it might make sense for the first app to just do one of those 4, to just do the colors.
Well,
I assume when you're going to say you're going to have numbers, you're going to have to do 9 images of numbers,
right?
And then 4 colors. You're talking about 20 or so images altogether there, and the coding for those are going to be pretty similar. So it's just going to get repetitive.
Right. Yeah.
So and at a certain point, it'll seem like, well, gee, I already know how to do this. I got to keep doing it over and over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in the course, you're going to learn ways to abstract over those ideas to make it actually less tedious to add in numbers or letters, right?
Okay.
But right now, you don't have that coding concept yet. So I would say it would be enough if you just focus on, now that you started the colors, just focus on the colors. Get that working well. That's already sounding fairly complex. If they get it right, one thing's going to pop up. If they get it wrong, another thing's going to pop up, and so on. So I know Tony's not here, but does that seem like a reasonable suggestion to you?
Yeah, in fact, we talked about that as we were working, that there has to be, and you had mentioned ways of copying the code. We envisioned doing the same thing over and over again, that there had to be an easier way. So I'll be talking with Tony tonight, and I can let him know what you suggested. Excuse me. We'll probably end up getting at least 2 of the buttons done, so that we each have gone through and developed the code for them. But I think that's a good idea. We could limit ourselves to 2 at this point.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a nice project. Jim Assessis is going to like this for his little kids.
Yeah. Well, that's what we figured. Between my grandchildren and Tony's youngest, we'll be able to test it out.
One of our teachers from 2013 cohort gets his students to do lots of apps like that. The argument he makes to them is they know the domain, numbers or colors, so they don't have to do a lot of research to figure out what the app is supposed to do. And so it's, they can focus on the coding. So yeah, he used to have lots of nice little apps for his daughters, preschool daughters. Okay, very nice.
Thank you.
Alan is here.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you. So our app is about like a Visit West Hartford app where we're doing maps of like different neighborhoods in West Hartford. And
who's your partner?
I'm with Greg. I'm working with Greg, and for every neighborhood in West Hartford, there are areas that are places of interest. So we're gonna mark those on the map. So it's pretty much like if you're gonna travel around West Hartford, it's an app that you would want to have.
Maybe you can show them.
Like, I'm not sure if they can see from there. So see, there's an app that the map changes depending on what neighborhood you can see it. Depending on what neighborhood is selected, and then from there you can check select also what place of interest you want to know, so that it will mark on you where relative to the map where that place is.
What components are you using for this?
We're using a canvas, and then so like the canvas changed according to like which neighborhood, and then place printers. I use a list view, so it will show the sign. Of course, I use a timer so that if I don't pick anything, it will close on its own. And when you pick something, it's not yet coded. Larry hasn't coded. I mean, Greg hasn't coded on the other version. Where once you click, for example, well, these are not the right places, but say there's an area here, a marker will show up, and then a picture of it will show up, and then if time permitting, we'll have information here about the place. So if we want to go beyond next step, I could put a kind of a hyperlink, more info, and I will open on the browser the website of that if I have more time. But it's a lot of work.
These are looking like final project quality projects. Very nice. Very nice work, guys. As I say, those are very sophisticated apps, all of them. The sort of thing we would only expect sort of at the end of the course. So it's great that you're able to put your head like that. Maybe you're going to be doing some of the lessons. Is that your beta tester?
Yeah, that's us.
Is that your beta tester, Larry?
Okay, so I think you are doing a very nice job, and you've done amazing work. So we have some good news for you, I think. If you look at the requirements for the project of what's due, there's the how to do the write-up. And we can share the link for that, and we're going to go over that. But we wanted to say that one of the requirements that you would have your students do would be an oral presentation, or also including a video. So we're going to say to you that for this, you don't have to do the video. Okay? I think that's possibly something we might be able to work on for the next project. When we're with each other, so that way if there's someone who's not as strong with making a video, we can do so. But the videos can range from, just using your cell phone to using the camera on the computer. But you don't have to do a video presentation for this project. So one less thing you have to do for this one. Kenny, can you share the link to the write-up for me? And then we'll screen share too. So I'm going to share a link to the write-up in the chat. Oh.
It's that web thing.
I've been referring to that document as when I was writing up some of the stuff, and it has 3 examples up top. Is it okay if we just copy that format, but obviously insert our own information? I mean, that's why you gave the examples, but just wanted to check.
Yes, so we're trying to do a screen share here, but it doesn't appear to be working. So hopefully you have a link to how to do the write-up. So can you go to that document? So yes, at the top there are some samples linked in. I would say that these aren't necessarily like the best of them, but they're good. So to the point where when you look at them, you should get an overall idea of what should be in there. So is it example A or B? Which I'm really looking at.
Oh.
So if we look at example B, it's an example of a student write-up. And I didn't think, oh, that was weird. Okay, so it starts off by saying like the author's names, one language,
Chapter 3.
their their pitch, the elevator pitch, and you see that it's all basically in like a story paragraph format, right? It's not bulleted or numbered or anything like that. Then they give a description about the app. They explain the storyboard, which is what, like, basically in layman's terms, telling the user how do they navigate through their app, what do they do. There's screenshots of what the app looks like, the user interface, and then there's screenshots with like little snippets, right? Nothing that's like whole blocks of code. It's just little tiny snippets of code with explanations. So taking like the major parts of the app and dissecting it, explaining what it does and how you made that functionality work. So you don't necessarily have to explain every single block, but you want to make sure that the main functionality is described. This one, I would say, these ones here, they are based on the old criteria, so we were updating this to match the Create One from the College Board. So the College Board requirements had changed, so we're updating that to reflect. So if you take a look now, you should see that there's new prompts down there. So you want to show how your code shows abstraction. You want to talk about some complex algorithm that you had in there. You want to have the final distribution. Make sure you have a barcode. I think personally this barcode is really, really huge. We talked about making that smaller, making sure your files are attached to the bottom. And then, so that basic outline, so this idea that you're kind of like selling the idea of your app at the beginning and then going more into detail about how it works at the end. Any questions about that? Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay. So yeah, so just make sure you take a look at the new requirements that are there. So we added in, it was in the official performance task page, but we also pasted them into the document, and they have like word lengths to them. Basically just want to go through and answer those questions. So most of it is done collaboratively, and then there's a few questions that should be answered independently, and that's the same thing that your students would be doing. Okay. So if you have any questions when you do that, let me know. If something is unclear, also let me know that, so that way I can see if there's some editing that needs to be done to the document to try to edit. Okay, so if there's no questions about that, then we have about 15 minutes left. Does anybody have any particular coding questions that they want to ask? Does anybody want to show like a snippet of code and need help with something, or is everybody okay?
No, I'm good.
I think we're pretty good.
Good?
We're okay.
All right. So it sounds like everybody's okay. Ralph is talking with Alan now, so I don't know anything else.
No. Huh?
They said they don't have any questions. I mean, like for the write-up, nobody has any questions. So
We're good to go then.
okay. So write-up is due tomorrow, end of the day.
Yeah, or Friday if they want to work on Friday.
No.
Yeah, we'll put it,
We'll hang out tomorrow. So.
yeah, we can have a hangout. We'll have a hangout at 3 tomorrow, so we can check in there.
Okay. That'll be the last hangout for the week.
Even if you get, I would say, get the write-up done, even if you, still have work to do on your program.
Yes. So thank you, Ralph. You just reminded me. So each day before the hangouts, we've been checking your portfolios as promised, just to make sure that you're keeping up with the work and we're keeping track. So today I noticed that before the hangout, there were quite a few people who didn't have anything posted on their page. So you want to make sure that you start early. So you want to make sure that as soon as you start working, you get a little bit of code done, you want to document it. If there's any trouble or research that you're doing, you want to document it. Anything that you get, so this is another thing we're going to have to talk about addressing is, what if you take snippets of code from someone else, or you do research, how do you document that? So that's something that maybe we can discuss on Monday, but you should be starting now. Don't wait until your app is completely done, or what you think is done, to start the write-up. You want to do it little by little. So make sure you start early, incrementally adding things on. And you want to take a look at those questions, because one of those questions asks you to actually talk about some challenges that you had, like 1/3 of the way through, 2/3 of the way through, and at the end. So you want to make sure that you're starting early. Scott has a visitor. Hello there.
Yeah, she just woke up from her nap.
Oh,
basically,
nice.
I'm just searching for 100 by 100.
So it sounds like it's okay. So tomorrow we'll have our last hangout for the week, and if you have questions about the write-up or if something is unclear, let us know, and we can answer your questions either through email, or we can have a private one-on-one hangout if you want.
I'm like trying to get it.
Sound good?
But we could take and switch.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tomorrow then.
Sometimes.
All right, bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
But I would just assume that they weren't.
You know what you can use? Actually.